Okay, I don't know if we're on Facebook Live. I don't know what we're doing right now, but it's time to dance, Chef Dawn. Here we go. We got to get our nerves out of the way. All the things that have gone wrong before. There we go.
Technical difficulties will not be our nemesis today.
Correct. They will be our friend. We will friend it so that they will go away. Kill them with kindness, I always say.
That's right. Welcome,
Okay.
Facebook Live.
So check on Facebook Live. Make sure that you are there.
You can count on me. I'll be right here. Right here.
I don't see it yet, but
Not yet? Okay. Should be on.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The
Brian,
Lillian
can you check and see if we're on?
To Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. I'm glad that we're broadcasting live on Facebook, as well as on the radio, as well as growing the show. So excited. So if you've been tuning in for the last 7 years or just stumbled upon the show yesterday, welcome back. I am so grateful for you. I'm glad that you're here. And if you are just tuning in for the first time and you've stumbled upon the show, I've been waiting for you. Just know this is a safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as many of you know, guess what? It's that time again when we make lots of excuses to eat the way that got us sick or the way that does not empower our body to heal. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Well, it's right around the corner. The holidays are almost here. And what do? We go back to those old ways, the traditional. Remember, I always say you don't inherit as much the diseases of your DNA. You inherit the recipes from the family traditions. And so with that in mind, yeah, once in a while, it's okay, once in a while. But what happens is once we taste that food again, it's created and designed to hook you back on. And so what should we do? What to do? Well, there's been someone that we've had on the show that has dedicated, Chef Dawn Ludwig. She has devoted her career to helping people discover the fun and beauty and delicious taste of natural foods. Chef Dawn's passion is guiding families to incorporate better foods for their everyday lives. So if you think that you have to give up taste for the holidays, or you have to give up the traditional meals for the holidays, think again, because Chef Dawn Ludwig is here to share recipes that are to live for our holiday table and beyond, that are always delicious. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Chef Dawn Ludwig is here to do just that. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Well, share a little bit about your background and what led you to just loving us with food.
Well, I've been a chef for over 20 years, and I owned a culinary school in Texas where I trained chefs in specialty diets 20 years ago, before it was even a thing, really. Mm-hmm. And so I also learned cooking in France when I lived there. And I'm also married to an endocrinologist and a nutrition researcher. And when he was writing his second book, Always Hungry, I started looking at the recipes and his science, and it just became a natural fit. We started working together, and I ended up translating his science into menus, recipes, meal plans, And because I have such a wide range of experience as a chef, both as traditional, I'm from Texas, so Southwestern food, Southern food. I studied in France, learned French cooking. Then I studied some Japanese, traditional Chinese medicine, healing around food. And so taking all of those together, I was able to bring his science into the recipes, but also offer recipes to meet people where they are. So my recipes will have a vegetarian version, and they'll have a dairy-free version, and they'll have an egg-free version. I specialize in cooking for food allergies as well. So it gives people variations and meets people where they are, and everybody at the table can have the same meal. These variations aren't afterthoughts. They're tested recipes, and nothing comes out of my kitchen that isn't delicious.
I love it. And it's always delicious. You're absolutely right. And so today, are you up for the challenge that we're going to make mashed potatoes, cornbread, and gravy, and all those things that we have grown accustomed to eating year after year, and then sometimes forget that it's time to kind of like release those things and make them healthier. But today we can combine both. Are you ready for that challenge, Chef Dawn?
Absolutely. I've been doing it for 20 years. I love this challenge.
I know. So really quickly, we're going to, when we go off the air, when we're off the air, we're going to talk through on Facebook Live. For those of you who want to join us on Facebook Live, share this so that all of us can grow together. But we're going to talk about the science behind Always Hungry and Chef David Ludwig's creation and studies and research when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. And you can find us at Facebook Live at Lillian's Radio Show. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, I can't hear the music.
Facebook Live didn't go on.
It didn't. It says it's streaming live.
Oh. No. Because I'm on it, and it said the live broadcast has expired.
What?
It says the live broadcast has expired.
Let me see.
Because I put that I wanted it to remind me when it happened. It said, tune in to watch live today at 8, and it says this live broadcast has expired.
Let me see. Okay. Hold on a second. Hey, Robert. He might not be here. Okay, so let's see. It says stop live stream. So if anybody's,
I'll refresh.
Yeah, let's
Are
refresh.
You getting comments on there?
I'm not. I didn't have time to do this. So if you guys unable to load page,
it says this live broadcast has expired.
Okay.
I typed to get a reminder.
Oh, it says, I think Facebook is down and for everybody. But so let's see. Hey, Brian.
I have my Facebook up, but.
Okay. Well, we'll go with the flow. It's all about going for the flow. So let's talk a little bit about okay. So let me see. Let me hold on a second here. I'm going to stop the recording for a second so that we don't have to go through all the rigmarole of that. So let's see, pause recording. The science behind, let's talk about the science behind Always Hungry and the phases and how we can make things right for us before going into some recipes.
So actually, it's very interesting timing that we did this because on Wednesday, one of the biggest feeding studies ever done was just published. It was David's study that he's been working on for a few years, where he actually took over the kitchen, a portion of the kitchen at Framingham State University, and did a huge feeding study. And it's really the basis for the book. And this is just proving what he's been saying for a while. And this idea is that what you eat is far more important than how many calories you eat. It's not that calories don't count. What he did was he was able to feed people and watch how, he's an endocrinologist. He's going to watch how their metabolism responds. and eating a low-fat diet versus eating a low-carb diet. And that's not meaning no carbs. We're talking just higher fat or higher carb and higher refined carbohydrate.
Yes.
The people who were eating the higher fat diet actually were burning more calories more efficiently than the people who were on the high carb diet. And so as an endocrinologist, what he talks about in the book is that when you eat things that increase your insulin, it causes your fat cells to hoard calories. And so it's like they're stealing your calories and locking them away, and your body thinks it's starving. And so you're hungry, you're craving. And if you're starving, what are you going to crave? You're going to crave sugar, and you're going to crave refined carbohydrates and bread and pasta because your body thinks you're starving. And this idea that being overweight or obese is your fault is crazy.
Yeah.
And we try to get the biology on your side by eating really good, high quality fats in pretty large amounts. And as a chef, if I can use 40 to 50% fat in my diet and in my cooking, I love it. It tastes so good. And turns out it's good for you. You feel great. You're no longer hungry. And then you realize that all this time when you thought it was your fault that you had this excess weight, it was really your biology stealing all your calories, and you can have them let go of that, feel good, lose weight with your body on your side versus kicking and screaming.
And there are different kinds of fat. We're talking about fats that are good for you, right? They're not the fats that are just processed and
well,
horrible.
we're like, for example, I always say, if you're on a budget and you're going to spend money, where do you spend it first? And that's on good quality fats. But I use like good quality avocado oil, good quality high oleic safflower oil, olive oil. And then of course the avocados, the nuts, the dark chocolate, these kind of things. And actually full fat dairy. If you handle dairy okay, not everyone does, but a lot of people handle dairy just fine. If you're going to choose dairy, don't choose skim milk. Don't choose 2%. Full fat. It's going to fill you up better. It's going to nourish your body better. And you're not going to need as much of it because you're satiated. Okay. Even saturated fats from things like meat. Some people like to eat meat, and most people do fine. There are a few people that are sensitive to saturated fats and their cholesterol goes up. But for the majority of the people, we have a Facebook group that is, I think we're over 15,000 people now. And people are finding that even eating these kind of fats, their blood pressure is going down, their cholesterol is going down. But to buy just like regular vegetable oil, like Crisco or trans fats or just vegetable oil, no way would I spend my money there.
Okay.
Get the good qualities.
So with that in mind, let's talk about these recipes for the holidays. I mean, we're talking about the gravies, the mashed potatoes, the butter. And I know that in the philosophy that you're talking about, these are things that are acceptable. But I also want to be able to adjust it for people that want to be vegan. They want to have a nice, that they want to be whole food plant-based. They want to have great mashed potatoes with no dairy, no butter. What are some of the substitutes? So let's talk about mashed potatoes in a way that it is healthy, whole food plant-based, and let's go from there. How about that?
Okay. We'll
gravy. Let's start with that gravy.
Well, gravy, what I find is most of the time when you're trying to make gravy, you need to use wheat flour. And how do you substitute for that and get around it? It's actually quite easy. Mm-hmm. And the answer is chickpea flour.
I love chickpea flour.
It turns it, when you make gravy, I'm from Texas, we love gravy. Mm-hmm. You make a roux. So you heat your oil, you cook whatever you're going to cook in your oil, or you just heat it. And then you put the flour in, and then you cook that flour so it gets rid of that raw taste. It gives you this nice, rich gravy taste. Use chickpea flour 1-for-1 in that recipe for whole wheat flour. and just turn your gravy into a nice roux. Cook it for a few minutes in the oil where it's nice and bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Then add whatever kind of milk you do well with. Could be unsweetened soy milk, almond milk, hemp milk, cashew milk, whatever it is that you like. Mix it in, stir it until it thickens, and you have gravy that's just like that cream gravy you always wanted, but you're not using wheat flour.
Very good. You know, that's wonderful. People wonder if I eat turkey for the holidays. Of course I will. Like I said, I'm not, although I don't consider myself vegan, I am as close to vegan as possible. So I'm whole food, plant-based, and I eat very, very little animal products. So there will be a turkey on our celebration, and the kids love it. So it's been traditional. So with the turkey, there are so many things that we add to it that we may not need, that do not take away the taste from it. Is there anything that you suggest we do differently to make the turkey healthier for us?
Well, I think it's the sides that are the problem. I don't see turkey as a big problem.
Okay.
Sides. And so if you look at our website, drdavidludwig.com
Mm-hmm.
or alwayshungrybook.com, both of them go there. Go to our blog, and I have a menu that's just all of my holiday recipes. So cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, we call them. Actually,
Let's talk about the mashed potatoes.
Yes, I love this.
Love those.
Always delicious and Always Hungry. I did a shepherd pie recipe, and you'll love this, Lillian. This shepherd pie recipe was originally a vegan recipe that I've been making for at least 15, 18 years.
Yeah.
And I switched it to a meat recipe for the book. So the original recipe is actually vegan, and it's delicious. But the topping, I always did a cauliflower topping. And one of the things we do in our book is get the ratios of protein, carbohydrate, and fat just right to get your body on your side, moving in the right direction. So I was trying to make this recipe fit with the macronutrients, and I needed a little extra protein. So I took this cauliflower mash. Now, cauliflower mash isn't going to fool anybody. You know it's not mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
But I needed a little protein, so I took white beans.
Ooh.
And added them into the cauliflower. And when I mixed it up with an immersion blender, it was like magic. The texture was perfect. And really, mashed potatoes have no flavor. It's the butter and the oil and the salt that you add on them that make them so good. So I put olive oil and salt, and I have had my clients actually make those mashed potatoes and serve them to their family, and they didn't know it wasn't potato.
And you get all the fiber from the bean and the protein as well.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So that's one. And then when I did Always Delicious, I've been making a mashed potato recipe that I've loved for a long time. And on that one, I cook a little bit of millet with a lot of water and cauliflower, because the millet's going to give that creamy texture. The recipe is in Always Delicious.
Okay.
And it's called millet mashed potatoes. And so you cook a little bit of millet with a lot of water and cauliflower, and then you use an immersion blender. And again, you get this nice creamy texture, and it's delicious.
Very good. Very good. So,
and I think I have the page number. Let me tell you what yeah, here it is. Page 236 of Always Delicious.
236 of Always Delicious. And you can always find these recipes as well at Dr. David Ludwig or drdavidludwig.com. And what is the page in particular that we can find these recipes?
Oh, it's on the blog. Go to the blog. And at the drop-down menu from the blog, it'll say holiday recipes. The mashed potatoes for the Always Hungry book is there. The mashed potatoes from Always Delicious is not there. That's on the page number in the book that I just said.
Very good. So I've got it here pulled up, and everything looks so, so good. Okay, so now here's the big problem. It's the desserts. We're going to talk about, when we're off the air, we're going to talk about my favorite that I created. It's my sweet potato. No, I'll tell you real quick, and then we'll go into the desserts when we come back real quick. So what I do for my sweet potato casserole, because a lot of casseroles have a lot of fat, but the fats that may not be good for us. And so what I do is I take the sweet potato, I peel it, I cube it, I steam it, and then I put it on a nice little pan, a glass pan. I don't use aluminum foil anymore. The glass pan, and then I sprinkle cinnamon on it. I sprinkle coconut, unsweetened coconut, shredded coconut, and soaked raw cashews that have been dehydrated. And I put it in the oven, and it is so delicious. There's no sugars on it, added sugars like marshmallows or anything like that, and you don't even miss it. Do you have anything like that you could suggest for us?
Yeah, I actually have a sweet potato casserole on that blog page on my website, drdavidludwig.com, drdavidludwig.com. I've been making the sweet potato casserole for that 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I sweet potatoes, spices, and then what I do is I steam the sweet potatoes, but then I put orange zest in it.
Ooh.
So it has like this nice flavor. And I make it into like a pie. And then I take pecans and I toss the pecans in maple syrup and lay the pecans on top of the sweet potatoes. And then sometimes you'll look at the picture on my blog. It's this like beautifully placed whole pecans all the way around the whole pie. Yeah. And then I bake it. And so this combination of steaming and baking with the orange zest and the spices and this mapled pecans on the top. So the people that want to have the sweetness can eat more of the topping, and the people who don't want so much can eat the bottom.
And we're going to continue our conversation with Chef Dawn Ludwig when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Almost didn't make it, Dawn.
No, I'll always make it.
You are so good. Listen, I don't know. It says that we're streaming live on Facebook, but at this point, I'm not going to let that be a distraction.
Let's talk about
I want to talk about sweets and desserts when we come back, because I nowhere on there. I mean, I know that you use the maple syrup, the real maple syrup, not the stuff that has the fructose corn syrup. And that's the damaging part, because when I make desserts in my home, they're all whole food plant-based. And I don't add any sugar, I don't add any honey, and I don't add any syrup, because the fruits that I use, like the module dates and all that they provide so much sugar that anything on top of that would just be too much. And my taste buds have gotten, and I'm telling you, I'm a sugarholic. I was a sugarholic. I'm a reform. Hi, my name is Lily. I'm a reformed sugarholic. And so for me to say something like that is huge. Once you get off the fructose corn syrup and all that, you don't really crave it. Although you crave something sweet.
Right. But even I find that a big step for a lot of people is getting off of artificial sweeteners.
Yes.
Because the artificial sweeteners, they fool our taste buds and our brain into thinking we still want that super, super sweet. And even stevia, it's so much sweeter than regular sugar that our taste buds are still in an infantile state.
Yes.
They're never able to fully develop into tasting sweet foods. I've seen this time and time again in our Facebook community, the Always Hungry book community, where people get off of artificial sweeteners and stevia and they can't believe how their taste buds have changed. And it only takes a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Because when I first did my raw food challenge, I was challenged to go raw vegan for 1 month. And when I did that, and went back to it, the stuff that I was eating before, it just tasted really, really bad. And it's amazing how your taste buds will tell you what is healthy and what it's not once you clear out all the illusion of eating well. Because ever since they came up with fat-free, we are getting heavier.
It's all the sugar that they're putting in, say, fat-free snack rolls. I mean, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
The phase 1 that we talked about is a 2-week program in Always Hungry that walks you through what you need to do to get your body more trustworthy, to clean it out, get your body working on your side. And I give you everything you need to do and eat in the book Always Hungry, day by day. All of the recipes, everything you need, really cleans you out.
Yeah. And, it's really easy to kind of fall into that, comfort zone of, okay, I'll just have this one little taste. And then, I'll just have this one next little taste, or I'll just have it when it's a birthday or it's a celebration. Next thing you know, every day is a party. Mm-hmm. Every day is a party. Every day is a reason to celebrate. Every day is a reason to eat this fructose corn syrup and things that are damaging your body. And so it would be great to have, it's great for me. And I don't know if you would also say yes, also for you, when we have these recipes that we know are great for us, they satisfy our sweet tooth, and we get just enough to be satisfied as opposed to needing more and more and more. What would you like to say about that?
Well, when we have our biology on our side, that craving cycle doesn't happen. And the key to that is getting good quality fat that's going to help our fat cells heal.
Yes. Yes.
Part of the subtitle of the book, Always Hungry, is Conquer Cravings, Retrain Your Fat Cells.
And here we go. So we're going to go into
desserts and cornbread.
The cornbread. Hold on, let me go talk about the radio show first.
At 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show. And although we are live on the radio, as always, Facebook Live is kind of like a question mark. It says that we're live, but we can't. Something's going on with Facebook. I don't know if later on this will be recorded and put on there, but just bear with us as we grow. And so we are heard live worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. And my goal is that we learn from each other. Every day, go through life with childlike wonder. What does that mean? It means that when we were a child, we thought like a child, we acted like a child. These childish ways don't support us anymore. So this is a new way of thinking, of believing, of knowing, intuitive, and trusting your intuition. Different things that we were told not to. Different ways that we were said, you treat people the way you want to be treated. But what if you don't want to be treated like the other person doesn't want to be treated? So those things don't support us anymore. So what will support us is learning a new truth. And that's what we talk about on the Lillian McDermott radio show. Today, we're talking about always delicious, healthy recipes for the holidays. I want us to all feel empowered to have options so that we don't feel we're missing out on junk, but rather we're embracing a healthy life. Think about that. Doing without something is thinking lack and living in a life of lack. But when we embrace health, now we're embracing abundance. And along with that are tons and tons of healthy, delicious recipes that can be modified. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please make sure you, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. You can text me at 407-373-5959. If you would like for me to register, just text me your email address and I'll do that. While you're there, please click on the follow me button for my social media. Also subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com and my YouTube channel. All of that is at whenyouneedafriend.com. Also, you can find us on awakenworldwide.com, lillianmcdermott.com, whenyouneedafriend.com. There's so many different ways you can find me, and we can grow together. While you're at my website, make sure you go to my sponsors page. Without my sponsors, the show would not happen. So make sure you support my sponsors the way that they are supporting the show. Finally, I want to make sure that you know that there's so many different ways that we can grow. There's podcasts, and there's always phone. You can call me on phone. You can text me suggestions for the show at 407-373-5959. Well, before we went on the break, we were talking with Chef Dawn Ludwig about different ways we can create healthier recipes that are to live for, recipes for the holiday table and every day. So before we went on the break, I talked about desserts. But before we start talking about desserts, really quickly, we're going to talk about cornbread. Cornbread. Let's talk about that.
Yes,
How do we
please.
make it healthy?
Love it. So as I talked about, all of my recipes are going to have options.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we do is we offer gluten-free options. We offer egg-free options. We offer dairy-free options. And so cornbread can be a trouble spot. Like, how do you get cornbread gluten-free?
And egg-free.
And
vegan.
egg-free. And have it taste good and have it vegan. So I've been playing with cornbread for 20 some odd years.
Yes.
And so I just published a cornbread recipe. We call it Phase 3 cornbread.
What do you call it? What do you call it?
Phase 3 cornbread, because we have the phases. Phase 1 is the retrain your fat cells. Phase 2 is stabilize. And then phase 3 is find things that you're going to eat, just like we were talking about for Thanksgiving. But let's look at better options that are still as delicious, that fit your taste buds now that your taste buds have changed.
Yes.
Your body now that your body has changed. And let's make them still delicious and meet where you need. So I do this phase 3 cornbread, and I'm going to look and see which page it's on. But what I do is, again, remember the last time when we talked about gravy, we talked about chickpea flour.
Yes.
And I use chickpea flour in place of the whole wheat flour.
Great.
Now, you need something in order to get it to rise. And so I use some, here it is. It's on page 205 of Always Delicious.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And chickpea flour, cornmeal. I use some baking powder, any kind of milk that fits you. You can use whole milk. Do not use skim milk. Do not use 2% milk. Use whole milk. You want you want your body to go, yes. You can use almond milk, hemp milk, soy milk, unsweetened. And I use eggs in this recipe because it helps it rise, but I do have an egg-free variation that uses some tofu instead. So it helps it rise, gives it a little more protein, and is every bit as good as the regular recipe. I do put a teaspoon of maple syrup in there. Mm-hmm. I do that because it helps offset that bean flavor of the chickpeas.
Yes.
You can leave it out, but it's a teaspoon in 8 servings. So we're talking a few drops. It's not a whole lot. But this cornbread, in fact, I was telling you before we started, I'm thinking about doing a Facebook Live either today or tomorrow where I make this recipe. So you can go to Chef Dawn Ludwig on Facebook and check it out and watch for this Facebook Live. I'm going to make this cornbread.
Okay.
But it's delicious.
Okay.
I serve it to people. They never know it's not regular cornbread.
Very
good.
You
can use it to make stuffing. Delicious. It's delicious.
Oh, okay. So how about, it sounds really good. I'm thinking that maybe this year I will break down and make some of that. What about pies and desserts? That's where we talked about how it's very difficult for us to eat desserts without all the extra sugar because we don't know any better, but we know better, right?
Know better. So yes. In Always Hungry, I talked about that 2 weeks where we tell you everything that you eat, it cleans out your body. We eat dessert every night on that program.
Yes.
Every night. Don't skip dessert. Do not skip it. And we do things like whole fruit if you're eating dairy, heavy cream. I actually have a recipe in Always Delicious for cashew cream, which is another great one to go on.
Oh, I love my cashew cream and
have you tried that recipe from Always Delicious?
No, actually, I make my own. I've got to check yours out. I didn't realize that you had one, so I'm going to check yours out.
Super easy. And maybe a square of dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa content. Dark chocolate is a power food. We should be eating. So a square of chocolate with some fruit, or maybe some roasted nuts with some fruit. Or I actually have on the blog post on drdavidludwig.com,
yes,
the blog post has my pumpkin pie tartlets. That's another one I want to make on Facebook Live because I need to make them anyway. So I figured I'll share it with the crowd.
Yes.
And I have a gluten-free pie crust recipe that uses chickpea flour and almond flour, also in Always Delicious. And that one is on page somewhere in the 200s.
Very, very good. Very good. Well, I just realized that we also have Billis here, where I'm so excited. Chef Dawn, find your recipe because we're going to add some more recipes in a little bit. But I am always, talk about Always Delicious, always hungry. I'm always excited when Billis comes on the show with Liberty Health Share. We're going to change gears just a little bit because during the holidays, we're more susceptible to health changes because we're eating ways that cause us to get sick. So I'm always excited when the founder and chairman of Liberty Health Share is on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Welcome, Billis, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. How are you today?
What a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for the invitation, Lillian.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am so excited to hear what is new, what's going on with Billis today that we can talk about and share.
Well, we're certainly continuing our theme of attracting health-conscious and health-aware men and women across America to join in with us in our community of sharing medical bills. It just makes sense, Lillian, that if we're really focused upon health care, we need to be health-aware, health-conscious, and take responsibility for the care of our health. And that's really the underlying theme of Liberty Health Share and its entire community of 240,000 individuals across America paying each other's medical expenses.
Absolutely. And today we're going to talk about, it's so interesting, Dale, because we're talking about recipes, some of the recipes in our traditional table that will make us sick. We think they're good and we look forward to them, but they make us sick. But I thought, Liberty Health Share is doing so much for getting us back on our health track, on our health plans. And when we return, we're going to discuss how we can do that with and through Liberty Health Share when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so I have got...
That's an awesome topic. Happy to chat about it.
Health track, I like to call it fast track because we're in Florida. And that's what that's what we do when we go to the amusement parks. They have something
that's
fast
right.
Pass, fast, it's like we want to do everything fast. We don't want to wait in line. We want to do everything fast. But isn't that true what we do to our health as well? We do that to our health and we say, you know what? I have eaten this way for 55 years, but I want to release it all. I want to lose it all in 5 weeks. And it's not real, and we give up. Let's talk about health track. Here we go. Dale, I'm so happy that I remembered that you're just waiting. You're supposed to go right into it, but
you can text Lillian McDermott.
Trying all this stuff, new stuff.
373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher has been Chef Dawn Ludwig of Always Hungry and Always Delicious. She is the creator of all these wonderful recipes. And so today we're talking about how to make our traditional holiday meals healthier that are to live for. And by the way, to live for is my registered service mark. So to live for, it's what we love our family with foods, but we're really killing them with the same food. So we not only have Chef Dawn Ludwig to help us kind of tweak these recipes a bit, but we also have Del Billis, the chairman and founder of Liberty Health Share. And we're going to talk about this mentality of everything being fast. All these things about, we're not willing to do the things that we have to do with patience so we can restore our bodies to health. And I love this about Liberty Health Share. And for those of you who want to learn more about Liberty Health Share, you can call 855-58-LIBERTY or 855-585-4237 or go to libertyhealthshare.org. So with that in mind, Del Billis, let's talk about Health Track that we can all embrace and heal together through Liberty Health Share.
Well, thank you, Lillian. We are a nationwide nonprofit association of men, women, families who share and pay each other's medical bills.
Yes.
And we do that on the basis of shared values and beliefs. And one of those is that our bodies are temples. We're creatures of God, and we have a moral and spiritual obligation to care for our health. Now, that makes sense in terms of controlling costs, but it really arises out of that core value that we have a responsibility to care for our health. When I launched Liberty Health Share, Health Track came about as a result of my own experience with taking responsibility for getting my health on track.
Yes.
And realized that I needed to make some significant lifestyle changes and differences. My blood sugar was out of control. I've been a type 2 diabetic for a number of years, and I was well overweight. And I just made a decision that I really needed to take responsibility for my health.
Yeah.
And we launched Liberty Health Share with a health track project or a health track association with Liberty Health Share, so that people with chronic health conditions that are responsive to a lifestyle change could join in with us, take responsibility for their bodies, and work towards wellness and health. And that's really what Health Track's about. We particularly welcome folks with high blood pressure, with heart disease, with type 2 diabetes. Certainly obesity and smoking and cholesterol, it costs an additional $80. We assign them a health coach, and they set their own prescribed and customized treatment plan and goals. Once they reach those goals, they graduate from the program, and we celebrate their success. Interestingly, what you said about instantaneous results, Lillian,
Yes.
the average tenure with Health Track is 7 months.
Wow.
And so folks join us, get serious about lifestyle change, and really achieve those goals in a little less than a year on average.
It's amazing. And so the prices, you guys keep the prices to become a member with Liberty Health Share so low that $80 a month is so affordable. And it's even lower than paying your regular traditional insurance. How do you guys do it? How do you guys do it?
Well, it's really about this principle of taking responsibility for one's health and the costs associated with that. We share each other's medical bills at about half, our members tell us, the cost of traditional or regular health insurance. We're not health insurance, don't want to be, but we have a sense of ownership about those expenses and costs. And so the money comes from our pockets and the pockets of our fellow members to meet each other's healthcare expenses. And so that just changes the whole mentality of consumption with healthcare.
Yes. So let's talk about pre-existing conditions, because you were saying that you were dealing with some issues yourself, and you've made that change. You got on the bus or the train, the health train, and towards the life that you want, that responsibility that we talk about on the show. So with that in mind, you're encouraging people that are tired of being sick and tired to say, I want to join Liberty Health Share because I do want to be responsible. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
We really want to create that kind of supportive, responsive community for people who do want to take responsibility for their health and their health care. You see, one of my observations, I've been a healthcare administrator for 30 plus years, Lillian.
Yes.
One of my observations has been that our healthcare arrangement, our system in America, is upside down. We have a sick care system. The
Yes.
reason we go see our doctor is because we're ill. Or we don't have that kind of supportive community to focus on the care of our health. And that's really what we've created here with Liberty Health Share and our members, to give that kind of support, enablement, empowerment to be healthy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you keep the prices so low. So with a family, most people have to pay individual for their children, but you honor families as a whole. That's a father, a mother, and all children. Again, how do you do that? How is it that you can do that and keep it's Affordable Care Act exempt. It's truly affordable. And so how do you continue with this commitment?
It's really a three-legged stool. One is, I've already said, we take responsibility for the care of our health. It's our money at stake. That's number one, that sense of engagement in the cause. Mm-hmm. But secondly, we're health-focused, health-conscious. And third, we secure deep discounts in the marketplace. Few people realize that what a hospital, for instance, will bill, they'll take far, far less in settlement for that particular service. And our average discounts on healthcare providers across the nation is 60%. So we're sharing 40% of the actual billed amount. And that just goes to show there's a billing issue in American healthcare.
There is, and because we don't even see those bills, we let it happen. It's amazing. When I became a member with Liberty Health Share, and I had to do my my scans and my yearly physicals and all those things, it's amazing how you become aware that there are providers of these services that are less expensive than others, and it's the same scan. If I go to a hospital, it's much more expensive than if I go to a standalone clinic. And so we learn about all these things. If I'm going to buy a car, I'm not going to go to the most expensive to buy the same car. Would you?
It's an incredible point, Lillian, because we do it in every other area of our economic lives.
Yes.
If we're at a restaurant, we check out at least my wife does, check out the bill we've been given at the end of the evening against the service and food we've ordered. If I go get my car repaired, I look at the invoice and make sure that what was done matches what I'm paying for. Yeah. But the third-party pay system in America just isolates us from the cost of our health care when it's being paid for by a third party. Here we've reversed that. It's our money at stake. We see the costs. It shows up in our individual online member portal we call our share box, and we share member to member on those costs. And that means we're engaged in those, in really reviewing costs and finding it at the most advisable price.
Absolutely. And I am so grateful for you because 30 years ago, 30 plus years, how long we've been working on this?
It's been 30 plus years. That's
yes,
exactly
30 plus years. For Liberty Health Share now has such a wonderful opportunity for all of us to take our health back. I became a member over 2 years ago, and I am so excited about that. And all you have to do is call. If you're interested in this, all you call. And if you think that this is like a little like scary, what did it for me is knowing that I am safe and secure up to $1 million per incident. And so it's not like my neighbor paying for me. It's an organized, and it's very much accountable. That's 855-58-LIBERTY, 855-585-4237. And you can go to libertyhealthshare.org. Dale Billis, thank you so much for sponsoring the Lillian McDermott Radio Show and bringing so much hope to so many. I appreciate it.
What an honor and privilege to be with you, Lillian, and I'm always thrilled with your emphasis upon our bodies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Chef Dawn Ludwig, thank you so much. And let's all make it the best day.
Best day ever.
Oh, I knew I wasn't going to make it. I knew I wasn't going to make it to the one. So we're supposed to be on Facebook Live, and Facebook apparently is having a worldwide crisis. Who knows what's going on in the world? But it's all safe on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Dale, it's always nice to see you. Look, by the way, you look so handsome today.
Well, that is so gracious, and thank you for that compliment.
Always as you do. And I know you're off to your next interview because you
I
are
am.
that popular. Thank you so much, Dale, for coming on. Any last minute words? Let me close this up here. I don't know if you could see the little chat box, but something happened along the way. Something happened along the way where my chat got off the track and now it was floating in my screen. And so I'm like, okay, so many distractions. Any last words as far as a recipe that is always, what's your favorite recipe, Chef Dawn Ludwig, and how we can modify it to suit our different needs?
Well, my favorite recipe is the pumpkin pie recipe.
Let's do that one.
And it's actually, when I developed it, it's a vegan recipe, and it's absolutely delicious. You can use the pie crust from Always Delicious on page 206. Or another thing that I've done is I take silicone muffin tins and I sprinkle a little bit of almond flour in the bottom of each. And then I make my pumpkin pie filling and pour it over that almond flour, and it makes a little crust as it cooks.
Can you do chickpea flour? Have you tried chickpea?
Chickpea flour, you can. It gets a little soggy.
Okay.
The almond flour crisps up a little better.
Is there another? Because I am allergic to almonds. So
use cashew flour.
Love you.
Use cashew flour. Or just make little pumpkin pie custards. Leave it off completely and make little pumpkin pie custard tarts.
Well, I could still put maybe the nuts. I can just put some nuts.
Yeah, put some nuts on the bottom.
I'll put the
nuts. You know
nuts.
what, if you wanted to,
walnuts.
You could mix nuts like pecans with medjool dates.
Ooh.
And make it kind of sticky like a crust. Press it into just the very bottom. You're going to bake it. So it might, I don't know how the dates will do when you're baking them.
Oh, they work fine.
Okay. So this pumpkin pie filling actually tastes better on the second day after you make it because it gets dense and the flavors really develop. It is so delicious, but you have to let it cool for a couple of days. So make it ahead of time. The recipe for it is on my blog, drdavidludwig.com, drdavidludwig.com, tab blog, go to holiday recipes. And there should be, you scroll down, there are 2 pages, but you'll see a picture of the pumpkin pie tartlets. And they're so, so, so delicious.
You know, I think I saw apple pie. I didn't see the pumpkin pie. Or maybe you know what? I must have I was very curious about the salmon and egg McMuffin or egg muffins. Yeah.
Oh, my son developed that recipe.
He did?
Yeah. He took a recipe on Always Delicious. I have 2 quiche recipes and an option to make them crustless and to make them in muffin tins for on-the-go egg muffins. And he altered that recipe and made those smoked salmon egg muffins.
Oh, cute. How cute. Well, so there must be a second page because page 1 of 11. How do I change the page?
Go to blog.
Yeah, I'm there.
Top, and go to holiday recipes.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, well let me go there.
Scroll
again.
down. There's the holiday roast.
Yeah.
Where I did a lamb.
I'm on there.
Keep going down. Halloween, Passover, latkes and applesauce, and right under latkes and applesauce is pumpkin pie tartlets.
No way.
And then look at that sweet potato casserole.
That looks okay. I'm going to click on there because I want more.
And then
but you know what? Okay, help me make
roasted chestnuts.
Go
to page 2 and you'll see that mashed potatoes we talked about. And then go to page 2, the next page, see at the bottom, how to zest citrus, and my cranberry sauce is in there.
I'm going to have fun on your blog today.
Yeah.
So if you get lots of different hits, that's because I'm on there.
And you know what? I'll be able to do a Facebook Live and make that cornbread and the pumpkin pie tartlet.
Yeah, let me know when you're going to be on Facebook Live. Would like to see that. Also, I would love to make, because one year I made a frozen pumpkin. I don't know what I would call it, but you freeze it, but when it thaws out, it's the consistency. It's a raw pumpkin pie, but it's like stacked.
You don't cook the pumpkin?
Nope. No, you don't.
I used to train raw food chefs because I did specialty diets. So gluten-free, raw food, vegan, macrobiotic, vegetarian.
It was all that.
All of that. I never used raw pumpkin.
Yeah.
Do you dehydrate it?
No, actually, I buy the pumpkin. Maybe the pumpkin isn't raw. I'll have to check it out. Do you buy a whole pumpkin or do you buy it in a can? Hold on a second. I am going to pause this recording. I'm going to run to my kitchen. I'll see. It might not be raw. Hold on. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Okay. So, yeah, I just wanted you to say it again because.
It's not raw. You would not like raw pumpkin.
No. Actually, it's a BPA-free liner. It's non-GMO. I don't get paid by them. I don't know. It's Farmers Market organic pumpkin pie mix. And it is really good. And so I'm able to, I guess it's not raw, but I don't have to cook it. I don't have to prepare it. So what I do is I freeze it.
Do you know how easy it is to make pumpkin?
It is.
You just cut it. And my favorite, I also have on there, I don't think it's on the holiday, but go to my blog. I have a whole thing on squashes, how to pick the best squash, which ones are the sweetest. Because pumpkins usually use like butternut or buttercup or kabocha squash because they're sweeter than the pie pumpkins. Mm-hmm. So if you go onto Chef Dawn blog recipes, just do a search for pumpkin.
Okay.
And I have a whole thing. I have grain-free pumpkin spice muffins. Those are really good from Always Delicious too. How to use squash.
It would help if I spelled it right.
How to pick a squash, the different types of squash. I've got pictures on there.
Good. I never know. Do I smell it? Do I squash it? Do I tap it? Do I listen?
You want the heaviest squash you can get, because when the first frost comes, all of the liquid goes into the squash and makes it really sweet. So you want the densest. So if you have two squashes the same size, you want the one that's more dense, that's heavier. That's going to be the sweeter. And you want the one that's got more color. So if they're kind of like a butternut squash, if they're kind of like a off-white color, it's not going to be as sweet, but that deep, rich beige color toward orange is going to be a little sweeter.
Okay, so I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but this happened to me. I had the family over in October, towards the end of, mid-October, middle to the end of October. And we did pumpkin decorating and painting with the grandchildren and did all that. I left the pumpkins, the little tiny pumpkins, on my runner on my table. And as this weekend, I was getting ready to like cook the pumpkin. One of them was hollow. Like the stuff that was in it evaporated.
Dehydrated somehow.
What?
I've never heard of that.
I have it there. It's like, I handed it to Robert. I said,
like a gourd.
Yeah, it became a gourd. And it was
crazy.
It was these tiny little, and we did a little, not a contest, but we did, even with the older grandchildren, they loved painting with acrylic paints instead of carving it and making it a big mess. And so we just did like paint faces and all that stuff. And we had 2 left over. And it was hollow as a gourd. I could make a guido out of it. I don't know if you're familiar with a musical instrument that.
Yeah.
I could make a guido off of it. And so it was really interesting that it would like liquefied. And then I said, okay, God, please protect my table. And I looked at it, and there was this tiny little mold stain on my wooden table. So I just said, you know what? It's just a table. So I wiped it with water. I haven't looked back again. So and that's my pumpkin story. And
I love it.
But how does that happen? Does it become? Does it
I've
like?
never seen it, but go look at that squash. How to use squash blog.
How to use
And
squash.
it'll tell you
Got
all
it
the
on
different
there.
ones to choose, because those pie pumpkins aren't really the sweetest. Really, the sweetest are those buttercups or kabachas.
Which one's the buttercup?
It's the one, if you look on the blog, it's the green one.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I've got a pumpkin that's kind of spotted. And it's kind of hard on it, and I've been decorating with it, but I do want to cook it. How do I cook it? Just put it in the oven, steam it, or what?
I usually, it depends on what I'm going to do with it, but I don't peel the skin off of my pumpkins unless it's really hard. Sometimes a butternut will have really hard skin, but normally I'll use the skin as well.
I heard about that. I heard about that.
It's good. Something like an acorn squash, they're not that sweet, and the skin is too hard. You have to peel them, which is a pain. But something like a kabocha or a kiri squash or a buttercup squash, those green ones or the bright orange ones, you just cut them. You take the seeds out. You cut them in wedges, like big wedges, put it in a steamer basket and steam it until it's tender. That's it.
I'll do it. I'm cutting them up today because I don't want to risk getting another gorge.
True. And then, keep the canned pumpkin around for if you're in a pinch. But this time of year, the squashes are beautiful.
So make a squash pie instead of a pumpkin pie.
You know what? In that can, I will bet you they use squash instead of pumpkin.
Let me see. Okay, so
what's the
ingredient? I may reconsider here, because I may not just use it because I've used this in the past. Oh, this is already prepared. So this one is organic pumpkin puree, organic cane sugar. I did not see that. Organic cinnamon, organic nutmeg. So this isn't the one I normally use. So I'm taking it back. There's too much sugar in here. It's just because I thought it was the same one I've been using. So this is not the same one I've been using.
A lot of times.
The one I'm using is just pumpkin puree only, organic.
Well, a lot of times these companies will change their recipe.
They did.
And it looks the same, and we buy it. It's crazy that we have to read labels every single time, but we do.
I'm upset.
They'll trick you.
I'm upset because I thought I got my pumpkin fix for the year. But I do not like anyone putting sugar in my food. If I'm going to put sugar, I'll put the sugar in my food if I want sugar. But I normally get the pumpkin puree. That's what I normally get.
Well, you can make your own now. Super easy.
And I add mojule date to it.
Nice.
And so anyway, that is my story on my pumpkin experience. I am not a chef. We need to defer to Chef Dawn Ludwig. Go to drludwig.com.
Dr. David Ludwig.
Sorry. drdavidludwig.com. Go to her blog and scroll down. Lots of wonderful, delicious, healthy recipes, and they will meet you where you're at. So with me, they meet me. And I remember talking to Dr. David Ludwig when we first met, and he said, "You would love my wife. You sound just like her." And he was right. So thank you, Dawn, for all that you do for the show to make us healthy at any stage, wherever we are. And I try to, I eat a certain way, but I try to let people choose a step closer to health and whatever that health is for them. And so I know that vegans get upset if I don't say I'm vegan. I know that the carnivores get upset if I don't get it's just, but I am just who I am. I am whole food, plant-based, and I listen to my body. So some days, like, I know my body is getting ready for Thanksgiving because people come from all over the world just to have, I'm just saying, my Thanksgiving turkey.
Yay.
Why deprive myself of that if I'm just going to have it once a year, right?
Right.
What's your word? What's your word of wisdom for when it comes to that?
So here's the thing. One of the things that we try to do in our program is help people listen to their bodies, just like you're talking about. But number one rule, my rule number one, on my Facebook group, you ask anybody on my Facebook group, what's Chef Dawn's rule number one? Rule number 1 is be gentle on yourself and others.
I thought it was don't talk about Fight Club.
Right. Yes.
Rule number 2, if you don't talk about Fight Club. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. I love that. Be gentle on yourself and others. And one thing we're adamant about is leave the guilt and the shame and the blame out of it. If you look on that blog page, one of my recent blogs is no judgment, just learning. And so you choose consciously, you leave guilt, shame, blame at the door. You enjoy every single bite. Know that the social interaction with your family is going to feed your soul. Love every minute, and every moment, new moment. You start over next meal, next day. Love it. If you're going to eat it, even if you know it's not good for you, love every moment and be gentle on yourself.
The last thing we should, and you know what, that I love the fact that you've brought that up, because that's how I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
I eat healthy 90% of the time, but that 10%, I'm going to eat what I want.
And you love it.
And I love it.
And you choose.
But then tomorrow I'm back to where I love my body again. But you know, interestingly enough, as I've chosen to stray from my nutritional life, I feel sick when I try something that it's not really good for my body. Yep. And the next day I pay for it. And I think, you know what? I need to make this in a way that loves my body back.
Exactly.
You know, and that's when I go back and I make my casseroles a certain way, or when I make my, you know, my side dishes or my regular meals a certain way. And I take what people do, maybe improve upon it, or do, you know, like have that base of that knowledge that this is the foundation. And then I build on it with what my body is trying to tell me is good. My husband goes, okay, well, give me the measurements. Well, I'm sorry, I can't give you the measurement. I just go with what my body. Okay, that's enough.
Right.
That's enough. My measurement is that's enough.
Yes. Yes. It's exactly what we were saying. No judgment, just learning.
That's right.
If you eat something and you feel your body feels horrible, then your body goes, ooh, I don't want to do that again. No judgment, just learning.
Yes. And then when we look at our life and we look at our body with curiosity, as opposed to criticism, or like in all these vicious ways that we diminish our lives, then it just doesn't matter, even if you're eating healthy.
I agree. And we do it to ourselves and others. And so rule number 1 says be gentle on yourself and others.
Very good. And we'll let that be the final word as we end this Thanksgiving just celebration of food and tradition and love. And Chef Dawn, I'm so excited that when you come on, we can at least catch up for a little bit.
Exactly. It's good to see you always, Lily.
Yes. And I love always, I'm serious. So if you see like an increase and spike in your blog today, just know that we are all the Lillian McDermott radio show followers are loving you, not just me. As well. And so I want to wish you and your family, as well as my listeners and my followers of the show, of all the different, the happiest, healthy, guilt-free.
Yes.
And pray over your food, because something transforms it when you pray over your food. That doesn't happen when you just gorge it down and just like, ah. So pray over it. So thank you so much, Chef Dawn, for everything that you do. And if you like this video, give it the thumbs up, share it. And for those of you who want to learn how to give it the thumbs up, you need to register, subscribe, be a part of YouTube, be a part of Facebook, and then you can make comments and share to your little heart's content. Help the show grow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Lillian.
Happy holiday.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.